Hello, everybody. My name is Brett Thomas Thomas. You're here with me with Jin Tan. We're watching Rote Kapelle vs Forsaken Empire. Jin, why don't you introduce us what Forsaken Empire have brought?
Yeah, this is a real break from the pattern for Forsaken Empire. If you guys have been paying attention at home, they have brought in almost logiless or logiless comps for almost all of their previous matches, going back through the feeders. So this is some real depth that Forsaken Empire are finally showing us here, all in the pursuit of those Alliance tournament ships, because that's what's on the line here. What have Rook Capel brought against that?
Rote Kapelle have brought a nightmare with a double autocannon Sleipnir and three broadswords, going very much for that Mimitar rush with the shiny nightmare at the very top. I do not know if but yes, this is a flag nightmare as well, so they have that bonus damage and they have those bonus fits as they rush in now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see DPS, they're going right on the Blackbird early on, hoping not to make the same mistakes that we just saw the Vindicator make in that last one of getting jammed and just not being able to do anything throughout the match. But it's holding for now, so that's a good sign here for Forsaken Empire to start with. It's just going to be a lot of feeling each other out here, but then again, those broadswords are going in very quickly, and they're taking chunks of damage. Look at Rotan, already in half shields.
Yeah, and the best just can't keep up. They're at the very back of the field, so he's not going to get reps. If he's ADCing now, he'll probably survive, but it looks a little bit too late as he's already almost on top of stuff.
Yeah, this is a broadsword as well, so there's a potential for it not to be able to get reps if it has its if it uses its focused scrams on things. This is a really dangerous position for them to be in, losing some of this tackle early on and then not gaining any positioning for it. That's the crucial thing here. You can lose a broadsword in a rush team as long as you tackle something down, as long as it lets the rest of your team get in there, but it wasn't able to.
Yeah, they are going hard for both of these blackbirds. They have got scrams on one of the blackbirds and are painting the other one because they know if things get jammed, they're going to struggle. They are taking down Enoch now, and they're probably going to go for Jeezy Boy in the second one now.
Yeah, the Anuros obviously has a lot easier time kind of controlling the positioning, staying far back. You can see there it's just actually no, yeah, it's just sitting back with the Lushax. It's got a lot of defensive utility around it. It can be protected. This other Blackbird is finally going to go down, but it's done its job already. It's blunted that initial attack from this rush team, and you can see DPS getting spread all over the place. Cyclohexanol there going down as well, just as the Blackbird drops. He's burning through his charges, and he won't have too many left now.
By the looks of it, Wind Jackal in the Leshak is on. Oh, never mind. They're shooting the Aneros of Mr. Keps.
Oh,
They finally
wow.
got on top of him, and he's just getting chunked by these autocannon Sleipnirs.
Yeah, it looks like the Garma of Sedai Hara. He was able to dive into the backline, get that initial tackle, and now Red Mage is taking over. This is great stuff suddenly from Rote Capel, turning things on a dime here.
Yeah, they were starting to chunk through the Leshaks, so the Aneros was a little bit distracted. He was like, "Oh, I'll need to get reps here." Didn't focus that it drifted too close to a Sleipnir, and it just pounced. But as I'm saying that, Wind Jackal in the Leshak is already in a third armor.
Well, it's not like this is a situation that Forsaken Empire are particularly familiar with. They've dealt without having Logi for most of this tournament, but most of the time it was by choice. Wind Jackal here now in half armor, three-quarters armor, bouncing up and down with those reps, but it's not going to be enough. He is breaking here quickly. This control setup is melting before our eyes because of one mistake and one great play from Sedai. Wow, turning things on a dime here.
Unfortunately, the rapier just wasn't able to keep the Sleipnirs back. It webbed down all the broadswords and stopped them getting those scrams on. So the Sleipnirs and the Nightmare were able to free run all over the place and just get on top of all of their targets.
Yeah, those Blackbirds going getting focused down was such a great choice. We questioned it at the opening, but here you can see the power of it. It allowed Sedai to make that play. He couldn't get jammed off. They couldn't pull anything away from their Aneros when it finally made that mistake and was tackled. You can see the Rapier going down now, so that's the last little bit of positional control they possibly have in this game. Wow, that's some amazing stuff. How do you think Forsaken Empire could have done this one differently? Like, how could they have utilized the rapier or something in a different way?
Well, you saw them webbing the three broadswords and letting the Sleipnirs run in. I would have liked to see it different of since they shot the broadswords first, webbing the Sleipnirs off and shooting the broadswords as they run straight in, picking off all of the broadswords while the Sleipnirs were still far away, and then working your way onto the Sleipnirs.
Yeah, this was just some great execution from them as well, and you've got to give them a bit of credit for having the chutzpah to bring a rush comp against a team that has so often brought the hard counter to rush. You know, that triple Abaddon, triple Oracle setup that we've seen them bring previously would have been so powerful against this, and yeah, they just didn't bring it. You know, Forsaken Empire blinked before Rote did, and they took the W because of it.
Yeah, it looks like that final Leshak has just been caught now. Everything's getting on top of it. They're burning closer to getting to optimal damage. So it is going to go down now. And Chevin in the Leshak is getting absolutely chunked. It is now down to the three Skybreakers to see if they can get the record for going furthest from the boundary.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the Nightmare as well. Historically, that's been such a poor ship in the Alliance tournament, and that this year, you know, we're seeing a lot of different teams break it out to much success. Tissue obviously just winning a match right at the opening. What's
Yeah,
kind of the what does a Nightmare really bring to a team like this? What's the advantage of bringing that over, say, a Typhoon Fleet issue or something similar?
well, the one thing a Nightmare does is a Nightmare does very well at applying damage over the entire arena. In a comp like this where you're rushing, the Nightmare doesn't it still applies its damage perfectly well here and doesn't lose that much damage. So you can drop a nightmare into against a missile comp and it can mitigate a lot of the damage when it's ABing and still apply that damage at really far ranges.
Yeah, and obviously you do have the utility of that extra high slot. You can put a newt down there. It's hard to get caught as well with that AB bonus. It's such a fun ship to fly too. I don't think people can underestimate the impact of that as well. You know, pilots in the AT, they love Eve just as much as the rest of us, and there's nothing you like more than having tons of buttons to press. Isn't that right, Brett Thomas Thomas?
It's great. Just as you roll your face along the keyboard and activate all of your F1 to F5 modules on one ship, he
Oh,
says
imagine
sarcastically.
using hotkeys and not just being a dirty button clicker like myself.
Well, we're finally seeing the last Skybreaker go down now. What do you think's going through their heads now that they finally got now that they know for a fact they've got tournament chips?
I know. I'm sure Rote will be absolutely overjoyed. This is the first time they've won they've competed in many, many tournaments over the years. They're such a storied competitor. And this is the first time they're walking home with prizes that really show their effort. So this is going to be a great reward for them. And I hope they feed many of them in low sec. Anyway, let's head back to the studio and hear more about what other matches we have coming up today.